You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. We are very excited, as usual.
I'm so stoked
to be here. Something special is going on, though. There's somebody here who normally isn't here. Say hey, Brett.
What's up, my friends of the Strange by Nature podcast realm? I am back.
Oh, my gosh.
Hello.
Brett is back. Now, usually when we have Brett on, it's for our big anniversary show.
Yes.
However, today you're just here as a guest with a topic.
I sure am. I've been listening as always, and I have enjoyed that the game that we would play during the anniversary show has taken on a bit of a life of its own. I love that people from not just the U.S., but around the world are throwing out suggestions for Eat, Ride, Jacket.
I would love more suggestions for Eat, Ride, Jacket.
That's a great reminder. Yes, send us more. If you want to have your suggestions on the show, Brett being here is a good reminder. Keep sending them in. Send us some more. So what are an Eat, Ride, Jacket from your part of the world, or some of your favorite animals? And
I think
we'll do that on the show. With
that, Brett, you were telling me just the other day that you had a bone to pick with us.
Well,
because we changed the rules?
You did. You changed. You kind of wiggled around a little bit. And listen, I mean, this is your show.
Like we kind of had to.
And I am just such a tiny, minuscule part of it all that I don't have much of a say. I'm a purist when it comes to a lot of things. I don't put anything in my hot dog. I don't want anything infused in my syrup. And I like Eat, Ride, Jacket as was in its original state. However, again... I love that people want to play it with animals from their neck of the woods.
Yeah, and I think when people were sending in stuff that was physically too small to ride, that's the one that kind of gets you. We're like, well, if it's an amoeba, a bacterium, and
dude,
a worm,
I want to ride
I
want to ride an amoeba. That sounds like so much fun.
How would that even... Okay, we're not going to go down that.
No.
I'm going Miss Frizzle. I'm going to shrink down like Miss Frizzle, and I'm just going to become part of the amoeba.
Wouldn't you just get stuck in this gelatinous mass?
You can change your size, but you can't change the size of the animal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird. Weird. All right. Well, look, let's get on with it. I'm actually going to the listener mailbag this week with a suggestion from John, who wrote into the show. Now, I'm not sure why he directed this topic directly to me. Perhaps it's a little worrying, but I received an email with a very clickbaity title. Well, actually, the title of the email was just for Kirk.
I did see that there was an email that came through saying for Kirk, and I was like, okay, don't look at it.
If you haven't looked at
it across.
If you haven't looked at the spreadsheet that you all share with topics, then looking at one single email or not looking at it should seem fairly easy to do.
Well, on my email program, like it not only shows a subject, but it shows like the first sentence of the email as well.
So I was like, I can't look. I gotta swipe.
Well, John had included some clickbaity titles at the start of the email. They were sex robots for crabs.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Scientists reach pinnacle of loneliness, seek crustacean love. All right, John, you got me intrigued. So I guess this week on the show...
For Kirk.
Sex robots for crabs.
Wow.
Because it's robots.
That's
I guess. But, the ocean is obviously an area quite near and dear to your heart, Rachel, so you'll like this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the crabs we're talking about this week are fiddler crabs. And I think we may have mentioned them like in passing on the show, but we really haven't done a deep dive on them as like a standalone topic. So here's some fun, weird things to start off about fiddler crabs. First off, to be clear, there is no one thing called a fiddler crab.
Of course
it's sort
not.
of a catch-all name for the fiddler crabs. And there's around 100 different species of them.
Wow.
Which is pretty impressive. They can come in various sizes and colors. They can be brown, gray, yellow, blue, black, even purple.
That's
I had
fun.
trouble nailing down exactly which fiddler crab was the smallest. I think it might be Leptuca leptodactyla.
Yeah, that's the
which
one.
can be as
Yep, definitely.
that's the one, right? Yeah, okay, good. That one can be as tiny as half an inch or just 13 millimeters across.
What?
So
That's
Full
tiny.
size?
tiny.
Fully grown.
Yeah, fully grown.
Wow.
What? The babies have to be even smaller.
Oh, so small, so small. Now the largest seems to be Afruca tangeri, which is slightly over 2 inches or 5 centimeters across, which is still not
That's not
particularly
huge.
large. I've seen video of these before, and they get really close to the camera, so I'd always assume that they were larger, but that's one of the biggest there. You might have guessed if you listened carefully to the name of that one. Those are found in West Africa. I'm assuming it's from Tangier, maybe, with that name. But fiddler crabs in general are found in West Africa, also the Western Atlantic, in other words, like the East Coast of North America, and the Eastern Pacific, Indo-Pacific, and part of Portugal. So fairly widespread.
All over.
Yeah. So the big weird thing
Coastal
about fiddler
regions,
crabs is their sexual dimorphism. So basically, all that means is a fancy science way of saying the males and females look different. And that is not unusual in animal species or even, I guess, plant species for that matter to some degree.
Right.
But in fiddler crabs, it's all about the claw. So male fiddler crabs have two claws, but one of them is, I guess, sort of normal size, and one is hugely larger than the other.
It looks
It
it's comically larger than the other one.
comically large. Yeah.
It's so
It's
fun.
actually 30% of the mass of their body.
One claw.
The large one can literally be the size of their entire body or even a little bit larger than their body. And they use this large claw to signal to mates in a kind of like waving dance. And they also use it to battle and fight other males. And these fights can get violent. The victor can sometimes forcefully rip the opponent's claw clean off.
Yep, that's the end of
All I
that.
could think of
Yep.
when I read
Guess we're
that was
done.
like human boxing matches, or maybe Brett is a huge fan of professional wrestling. And I was thinking, how different would it be if after they pinned him to the mat, they just ripped their arm clean off and walked away?
I have been
That
known.
would.
I have been known at wrestling events when someone slaps on an armbar to maybe yell, "Tear it off!" In jest, in jest. So.
You need to go then.
Or was this a boxer? Someone bit someone's ear off,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Tyson
That
bit
was Mike
Holyfield's
Tyson,
part of his ear off years ago.
Yeah.
So
Horrifying.
Okay.
So now you cannot grow a new ear or a new arm for that matter. But what's wild about this is that they can actually grow a new massive claw if they lose one.
Is it as big as the one they lost?
Yeah, but it doesn't happen the way that you think. What happens is that the remaining claw starts to grow and grow and grow and become the big one.
What?
And then when they molt, they get a new small normal sized claw where the old big one used to be.
just nuts.
Which is
okay.
so cool.
Nuts.
Hold on,
So
we're gonna
cool.
just trade.
Yeah, completely nuts. So it'll actually switch which, arm.
Do we know how
Yeah.
long
Big
that
one,
takes?
basically. Yeah.
Do we know how long that takes? That process.
I don't know. It's not like a quick thing. I don't think it's really
Scientific. It
complete,
depends on conditions, food, temperature.
It
all
probably
that.
depends on when they're going to molt
Yep.
next, basically. So these large claws are pretty important to the life of fiddler crabs, especially male ones. And researchers had an idea. Now, when I saw videos of what they did, my assumption was that they had found a dead crab and cut the claw off, or maybe a live one and preserved it, and then hooked the claw up to a small battery-powered servo with a stiff wire on it. And this is all hooked up then to like a little Arduino like microcontroller. And what this meant was that they could make the claw wave up and down just like a real one.
Jeez Louise.
They then mounted this
Okay.
Franken claw in front of what I presume was the dead crab on a board. And they basically created the crab version of Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes.
If you're old enough to get that reference from 1989.
Yes.
That's what
so
I assumed.
funny.
That's what I
Wow.
assumed from watching the video that was kind of making the rounds and that John sent me. But actually reading the scientific paper, which was called Biomimetic Robots Reveal Flexible Adjustment of Sexual Signaling in a Wild Invertebrate, as published in the August 25.
That's understandable.
August 2025 proceedings
Those were
of the Royal
definitely
Society
words.
B. I discovered that they did not, in point of fact, pull a Weekend at Bernie's. The entire crab body and the claw were completely 3D printed and then
What?
painted to look real.
Wow.
So well done. That was very, very cool.
Whoa. Okay.
Because it's 3D printed, they can change variables. So they actually made 2 different sizes of claws to test. They made a 5-centimeter claw. That was the average size of the claws for the species. They also made a 7-centimeter claw, which is the largest they can get. Now, just a reminder, their body measures 5 centimeters across. So a 7-centimeter claw would sort of like me having a hand that was 8.4 feet or 2.5 meters long.
That's over
Now,
one
I'm
Rachel.
6 feet tall. So a 6 foot tall person would have an 8.4 foot long hand.
We couldn't call that a high
That-
five anymore.
that-
We'd have to come up with something else. Just I don't know what you
Yeah.
call
That'd be-
that. So.
I think that's almost.
couldn't even lift
that's like
that. Like,
one
that'd
and
be
a half
ridiculous.
Rachels at least.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
So, incidentally, the researchers named their little waving crab claw monster Wavy Dave.
Excellent. Great
pretty great.
choice. Wavy
So-
Dave. Hey, that could be a fun pirate name.
That'd be a great pirate name, yeah. I don't know,
Yeah.
Wavy
I think,
Dave.
Wavy
I think
Dave.
it's got some legs.
Yeah, so what the researchers did was to set Wavy Dave out next to actively occupied Afruca tangeri fiddler crab dens in Portugal to see what would happen. What they were doing was looking at how the size of the claw and the frequency of the waves affected the response of the crabs. And they were honestly surprised that their robot fooled the male crabs at all. They weren't really sure if it would work. But sure enough, the crabs, came out of their burrows and began to have basically standoffs with Wavy Dave. They did not particularly appreciate him being there. In some
They're
cases,
baiting.
Turned into battle
they
bots.
eventually, well,
It's battle crab.
exactly, because they eventually attacked when Dave just wouldn't back down. And I think this was related to how big the claw was somewhat. Like if they're like intimidated, they're like, oh, maybe I'll go back in my burrow. But sometimes they're like, no, this guy's got to leave. And there's even a recording of one of the male crabs severing Wavy Dave's arm from the device. And I was proper impressed until I looked closely at the video and saw that his arm was actually attached with Lego. That's right. These researchers used Lego to build part of this robot.
You know what?
And I guess,
Use what you got.
use what you know. Yeah, exactly. And at first I wasn't all that impressed because it's Lego. Of course they're able to separate the arm.
Okay,
It
but
isn't like it
Lego
was
is
screwed down.
so hard to
Sometimes,
detach.
right?
Like
Exactly.
oh,
I've spent plenty of time trying to de-brick stuck Lego. So
Those
I know
little
how
single
hard that-
brick ones, the little single squares
Yeah.
that get together. They should have used those.
they're
So-
like impossible. Like
And also, we know these crabs can sever each other's arms, so leveraging a Lego brick apart with a giant lever is probably easier in comparison.
maybe.
Now, sadly, Wavy Dave can't regrow another arm, but the severed one can just be snapped back together quickly, and he can go on to harass another day. So maybe they did it on purpose to create a weak point on purpose, so that when this happened, it didn't destroy their robot.
Right.
So as silly as
That'd
this
be
all
smart.
sounds, this was real research. They did learn some cool things. Here's one passage from the paper. Quote, males extended their display bouts for longer when the robotic rival was waving at a fast rate compared with waving slowly or not at all. To our knowledge, this is the first evidence that an invertebrate animal adjusts its sexual signaling behavior as a direct response to changes in the signaling behavior of ostensible rivals. So it's the first time they've ever shown that that invertebrates will change their signaling behavior based on what another rival is doing. First time ever been shown. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Basically, males wave faster when they see a female. And in this case, they showed that one male crab can see what another male crab is doing and see that they're waving fast. My assumption was that going to be that they would then adjust their wave rate in response to be like, oh, hey, there's a female nearby. Hey, hello, hello. But like,
Pick me.
they actually don't do that. What they do show is that they spent less time in their burrow or took longer to return to their burrow when they were nearby the Wavy Dave waving fast. But when he was waving slow, that didn't really affect the time to return to their burrow. So that would perhaps suggest like when they see someone else waving fast, they're like, you know what? I'm going to hang out a little bit. I don't see her, but maybe there's someone nearby. I'm just going to hang out a little bit longer.
Maybe I don't see her, but she's here.
Exactly. And I want to make sure I'm out here when she comes by. So that's kind of a cool thing that they found. And studying animal behavior like this is fascinating and can give us insight into how signaling works in other more complex animals as well. But the video here is a real star. So I'm going to have Rachel add it to our weekly email newsletter. And if you aren't signed up yet, be sure to do so. Lots of you have been signing up lately, which is great. It's completely free. It gets delivered to your inbox each week along with the fresh new episode. You can get photos of everything we talk about, sometimes videos if there's a cool video to go with it. If you don't want to miss out, be sure to sign up by stopping by strangebynaturepodcast.com. You scroll all the way down to the bottom of the homepage. There's a little field there. You add your email address and you're done. I promise, we won't spam you. We'll never sell your address. It's just for the newsletter and communications about the show.
Probably too much time putting the newsletter together every week.
Yeah. So we respect you all way too much to sell your info. It's literally just weekly photos of the weird stuff we talk about on the show. So I hope people sign up. And that's my topic for the week.
So I want to know how
That's
good the crab's eyesight is. You know,
Right?
clearly, like male, female, the one big claw, you would think that's a very visual thing. Yet you know that so many animals rely on scents and use pheromones in this too. And so it just speaks volumes, I think, to how good their eyesight is, that they're looking at
They do have the little eyes up on the eye stalks.
Yeah, but that they're looking at this imposter, and yet they're not able to tell that it's not real. It looks real enough.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. And mostly, there's this big claw in front, and I think they probably become fixated on that. I think Victoria talked about the study on the show one time about was it the turkey mating with just the severed head of another turkey? Does ring a bell?
Vaguely,
I don't know about
vaguely.
maybe a little bit.
If not, we need to talk about
Halloween's
that.
coming,
Like,
so
it just goes to show. The point of it is
I know
that
she talked about
show,
the ducks.
Oh, maybe it was the duck, yeah. I think it just goes to show that, like, animals will fixate on certain parts of things, and, like, the whole doesn't necessarily need to be right. And, frankly, humans are probably that way to some degree, too, if we're not paying real close attention.
And I'm sure the movement also really helps.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are in the... is this happening on shore, or is this happening in the water?
Yeah, this is on shore, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because then I would definitely use more pheromones and things, but I don't know the ability necessarily of crabs to have
that big
pheromones.
giant waving claw is...
That just seems like some
really
fun research.
Pretty
I bet
visual.
they were just thrilled when the first crab came out and just mauled Wavy Dave. That had to have been such a victory.
I would have been so stoked, like just full on, like screaming, like...
I think they were just excited to see them waving at Wavy Dave. Like that was the big thing they wanted to see was were they signaling back and forth? And the big, we get, things like the silliness of it is really fun. From the researcher standpoint, being able to use this Arduino, which apparently had Bluetooth, so they could actually control it from their phone while they were watching. They could in real time change the speed of the waving.
I would have too much fun doing that.
To get to their research goals, right? So they could say like, oh, okay, now he's behaving this way. We'll see what happens when we do this, do that. It's one thing to observe what's happening in the wild, but you can't necessarily change the behavior of the other crab. This one, they can change the size, they could change the speed, all those things to really get to their research goals. So very, very cool.
Which really is like fabulous, and I love that they did this. I would not be trusted with the Bluetooth-enabled device to wavy
Like
days.
Wallowitz and the Mars
Arm.
rover.
Noted. Noted.
be
We will
bad.
not give you a Bluetooth device that can control robotic.
Should be
Crab
taking
arms.
notes here during this conversation.
Well, look, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, which one of you is going?
I think me, unless Brett, do you want to go?
I mean, I'm ready. I have been ready for quite some time, so let's do this.
All right, we're going to hear
All
from
right,
Brett.
We'll be right back with Brett, you guys.
All right, so we are now back. All right, so you know that I listen to the show on the regular. The other podcasts that I listen to are almost exclusively wrestling podcasts. I have probably 3 or 4 other wrestling podcasts that I listen
That's
to
phenomenal.
every week. The greatest thing about wrestling, well, there's a lot of great things, but it's a continual, it never ends, and the stories just keep going. But so you have to imagine how excited I was. I believe it was back in February when your podcast grabbed a hold of just a little bit of my wrestling world and, and mashed the two together.
Yeah, that was me.
We
I
did
appreciate
think
that.
about you when that happened.
And Kirk talked about that fateful day in June of 1998 when Undertaker threw Mankind off the top of the cell. And then he went on to talk about the Undertaker bird, which was such an awesome topic, and it was so cool. But it was in that moment I'm going, wait. Is there any other way for me to get wrestling into this show?
Yeah, I think the next day at work, you were like, I have a topic.
Yeah.
I got to be on the show.
So
And it
ready.
took
I'm
this
ready.
long to get you on.
And so I found it. Now, back to the wrestling world. A wrestler that you two are probably pretty familiar with, or at least know of, because he transcended the sport, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The late 90s was, arguably one of the greatest superstars of all time. Now, Stone Cold was a foul-mouthed, beer-drinking, just putting boots to people every week. And one of his shirts said, "It's not a beer belly, it's a fuel tank for an ass-whipping machine." Now, I know I just said that. I just added some color to the show here.
There you go.
It's fine.
But when I found this article, I thought, hold up, Stone Cold isn't the only one using his stomach to use alcohol for fuel. So let me
Interesting.
let me kind of just then now shift to the animal world. We know that animals encounter alcohol in nature. Fermenting fruit on trees and on shrubs, it falls to the ground. Fruit flies.
I've got a story for later.
Various primates. There are animals that absolutely encounter alcohol. Now,
birds too. A lot.
right. For the most part, anything above a 4% concentration of ethanol, and you start to see impairment. Right. That's kind of where you start to see problems, which again is why ethanol as a metabolic fuel doesn't usually quite work. However,
It's got some issues. Yeah.
However, an animal researcher, her name was Sophia Buchebti of the Ben Gurion University of the Negev in Israel. I hope I said that right. She suspected that some hornets and wasps may tolerate alcohol better. And she suspected this because in their gut, they host yeast. And the yeast, of course, converts the fruit sugars to alcohol. And so they're already having this process play out at a higher rate. And some of this yeast that they have does get passed on to the plants and the flowers when they're looking for bugs, when they're in and amongst the flowers. So that helps with fermentation too. But she then decided, all right, I'm going to focus on just one particular type of social wasp. In this article, it was only the Latin name. So I know there's a big tradition on this show.
Good luck.
Let's hear it.
Well, but I couldn't have asked for a simpler one. This one, the social wasp.
Is it Bufo?
No, it was Vespa orientalis. Vespa orientalis. Very straightforward.
Phenomenal.
But so she picked that one. All right, so now the study was they were going to feed hornets and honeybees, and they use hornets and wasps interchangeably a lot in this article, and I know that they're similar, but at the same time I felt that wasn't maybe quite as clear as it should have or could have been. But anyways, they fed the hornets and honeybees a sugar solution containing anywhere between 0 and 80% ethanol. Along with, then, it also contained a traceable carbon isotope. Now, when I say 80%, that's 160 proof. As a human, you can go to the store and buy, Everclear, which is I think which is 150.
I was about to be like, is that more than Everclear?
Right, it is.
Like, dear God.
Slightly. But so then, what they had to do after feeding these hornets and the honeybees this solution, they had to measure then the labeled carbon coming out of what they're breathing out, which you've seen people on treadmills with masks as they're measuring all sorts of things.
Right. Yeah.
I just wish there was a video or a picture that showed how they were measuring the carbon isotope in this experiment. The wasps had up to 300% more of that isotope coming out than the honeybees did. And so what that meant is they were breaking down the alcohol faster. Their body was able to blow through that and use that. They said they tried to find a max limit to where it would have an effect, and they couldn't find it.
That's cool.
Right. So the crazy thing was this wasp, they thought, okay, well, does it have an effect on longevity? Nope. These wasps that were getting the 80%, they lived out normal life expectancy lives. By the way, the honeybee that got the 80%, it was dead within 24 hours. It did not survive.
You know what? I'm not surprised.
Right. But so then they also thought, okay, sure, it's not seemingly affecting it, physically. Is there any sort of mobility or, how it functions? So they gave the wasp that was, loaded to the gills with the 80% a bunch of nesting materials. And then they gave nesting materials to the, 0% one. And they both built nests just fine.
Okay.
And so you're finding no effect. Here's an animal, and that's the thing. Like ethanol, we know ethanol has a ton of energy in it. Heck, we put it in our cars, and it makes the car go, right? And so, but again, because of the compromising effects, most animals can't use it. Now, they did also state that they don't seem to have a preference for just pure sugar or sugar loaded with ethanol. So there is something about the taste and or lack thereof that that they felt, well, that's, we're not quite sure on that. Of course, then someone else did suggest, well, we should maybe focus on some of the insects that we know, like some beetles who have a preference for ethanol. Like, do they have that similar built-up tolerance in their gut? And really, the question was, as far as evolutionary terms go, how and why did this wasp, or did wasps in general, garner the ability to do this? And and again, in some ways, not that they were seeking out the ethanol, but again, if other insects are like them and they're seeking out ethanol as a fuel source when other animals can't, that's one of those niches that someone isn't in nature necessarily, occupying.
Do you know what that particular species, what their primary diet is, what they normally eat?
You know what? That I did not look up. That would be okay. That would be good to see.
I know a lot of wasps and hornets and things will feed on fruit.
Yep.
And so the chance to encounter ethanol is going to be pretty high then.
Yep. Yep. In here, in Minnesota, the wasps and hornets are more carnivores throughout most of the summer, and will switch over later in the summer to more sugar-based things. My favorite part of the article was probably, it was a cool article, but was the end, where one of the scientists declared that a greater study on the Hymenoptera in general was something that was clearly needed. And to me, I felt like that was, bar speak for let's have another round. I mean, you know what? I'm sure they had a blast doing this. I'm sure they had their minds blown doing this. I just thought it was super crazy cool that there's this animal and or group of animals out there that is using ethanol as a fuel with no effect whatsoever on their system.
That is wild.
That
totally
is
wild.
That's so much fun.
Now,
go ahead. You got questions?
well, I was going to point out that this animal, I just double checked because it sounds so familiar.
Vespa orientalis.
Vespa orientalis is the exact same one that I talked about in episode 199 last December, when I talked about these are the same ones that actually some researchers think may be partially solar powered.
Jesus.
They can literally.
Okay.
Remember, Rachel, just you and I talking on that show. You talked about blue
I
whales.
remember that. I remember that now.
Yeah. So we're talking about how they can.
A solar-powered
alcohol-fueled
Little wasp.
Dude.
Wow. Or wasp.
You can't even come up with that in some sort of sci-fi novel. It just doesn't even exist.
That is.
This wasp just feels like it
Insane.
should be zooming everywhere.
But clearly it's
Not
just,
necessarily in a straight line, but yeah.
Right.
The article this week I found in Scientific American. I've had it since February. Thanks for letting me come on this week and share that with all of
That
you.
was so fun.
Absolutely. That's cool.
That's what I have for you after this little break. We're going to get to hear what Rachel has brought to the show this week.
Buckle up, folks.
Oh, boy.
Ahoy.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Buckle is tight. Buckle
Good.
is tight.
I'm so glad.
Before we get ready to knock our socks off, I gotta tell those of you who are patrons, during the break, Rachel just told an amazing story.
So fun.
An all-timer.
Going to be available to our patrons. If you're not a patron yet, do head on over to patreon.com/strange by nature. You can join the Society of Strange. Society of Strange members get like fun bonus stories and stuff that don't make it on the show. And this one was a doozy. We shared a number of we all shared stories actually.
We did. I have so many
laughing.
little stories from seasonal times that sometimes I look back and like that same particular naturalist did some other things that were maybe questionable that I got told, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this later. I'm like, oh.
Solid.
It's great. All right. Now
that's enough intrigue for everyone. What story do you have?
Okay. So, Kirk, you once worked at an aquarium, so you might be able to relate to my story a little bit.
Huge aquarium, yeah.
Yeah. So, buckle up, everybody. We're going to travel to Germany.
Okay.
To Karlsruhe. We're going to Karlsruhe, which is in the southwestern part of Germany. It's like right under, you know how like Germany has like the big, it looks like you have like, I don't know, it looks like a mushroom and like underneath the caps. It's kind of right like underneath that little cap.
Boy, the listeners from Germany are going to have some.
They're gonna have thoughts. They are. So Karlsruhe is in the southwestern part of Germany. It's like right near-ish the border of Germany.
I've never thought of Germany looking like a mushroom.
No, but now you're never gonna unsee it.
Mutant morel shaped.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a way to like think of like that corner piece.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, and since we're naturalists, we're going to Karlsruhe. We have to check out the Natural History Museum, of course.
Of course.
Yeah,
now,
of course.
Goes without saying. I don't know about either one of you, but I personally love a good natural history museum. I love museums in general. I want to read everything. I am we are there at open. We are there until they close kind of person.
Yeah, we were in a natural history
family will
museum
tolerate it, absolutely.
last summer, and my kids blew through it in about 10 minutes, and I spent an hour and a half. So
and you're like, I'm sorry, I'm on display case number 2.
Yup. Like, I went to, on a slight side note, I went to the Natural History Museum in Chicago, the Field Museum, and my friends fully abandoned me. We started off in the taxidermy part and all of the birds, and they fully abandoned me within like 15 minutes.
Time for new friends.
Because they were just looking and like checking everything out, but I was like reading everything, and they were not ready for that.
Right.
So, this particular natural history museum has an aquarium that for the last 10 years has had a mystery. So we're going to go back in time 10 years. Hans Kirschhauser, who is now the head of the aquarium and a biologist, was designing and bringing in pieces to help build an engaging and healthy habitat for the sea life that would be inhabiting this aquarium. One of which included having a living coral reef as part of the aquarium. Little did they know that some of the rocks and things that they had brought in for part of the habitat and part of the coral reef part had something that snuck in.
Tagged along, yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So
that usually goes well.
Yeah, it really does.
No, it doesn't.
So as time from the construction and opening went on, biologists and staff at the aquarium noticed that overnight, some of the corals looked to be nibbled on. Something was eating those corals. And it only seemed to happen at night, okay?
I'm sorry, there was no fish in there yet?
So there was, but like none of the fish that they really had in there, that they have in there,
should have been
are coral eaters.
Okay, they weren't like parrotfish or something.
Yeah, there's not parrotfish in this.
Okay.
So, but good question, but I did check that. Then
I'm sure they did too.
Oh, absolutely. But then they started seeing mucus tubes appearing between corals and within
I don't like that word.
Things.
You never want to see mucus tubes.
Nope.
No.
That doesn't sound good.
No. But still, no one saw what could be causing this. Like, they were checking out the tubes and things like that. They saw nothing. Bits of coral were clearly being eaten. No visuals, no reports, just these traces. And this goes on for the next 10 years.
What?
Wait, what?
No
10 years?
10 years?
No visuals, no nothing. They kind of thought they
this
knew
guy's
what it
biology
was. Well, they think they knew, they had an idea of what it was, but they couldn't confirm it because they couldn't find it.
Never find it.
They called it the Phantom, okay? They could not find this.
For 10 years.
Now, for 10 years.
I would feel so just...
This past spring, so we're in August 2025. This past spring, they were diving in the tank and they found something. It was a 1.5 meter long.
Wait. Wait, what?
A 1.5 meter long, which for all of us who don't use metric is almost 5 feet long worm.
I knew it was going to be a worm. Gosh.
Oh man.
They found
What?
that it had red gills and the red gills were still moving. So they were like, aha, we found it. We got it. Hans Kirschhauser was so stoked. They found it. They got Phantom.
But
wait.
Turns out it was just most of the worm. Something had happened and the worm separated most of its body.
What?
So it was just the
What
back
is
half of
going
the
on right
worm.
now? Close
The head was still missing. And like a good chunk. Yeah.
The head was missing.
Yeah.
Sounded
the head was
still
missing.
be alive.
Well, they watched to see if any new mucus tubes were being built, if any more coral was being eaten. And shortly after, they found there was more coral eaten, and there were new mucus tubes. So they were like, What
did you
is
mi-
happening?
How did you miss a 5-foot worm in this tank? Like, how does that happen?
Uh-huh. Now, think about it this way. Odds are this thing is closer to 2 meters, which is 6 feet.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is... They have not seen
one big worm.
this worm.
So when you say
Yeah.
6 feet, you mean they think the total length was 6 feet, or there's
think
6 more feet?
They think the total length, including the discarded piece, was closer to 6 feet.
Okay.
So it is much
Okay, that's
smaller
a
now.
little better.
Right?
yeah.
It's much smaller now. Still. So they sent a piece of this worm to be analyzed genetically, and they sent it to an expert on bristle worms because based on what it looked like, it was a bristle worm, but they didn't know what species. So they sent it to the University of Vetka, to Professor Marcus Bogman. It has umlauts over the O, so I'm going to say Bogman. Umlaut. But they couldn't identify what species of bristle worm.
What?
It's, to be fair, there are 10,000 known species of bristleworm. But as of right now, it doesn't match any of the known bristleworms.
Any of the 10,000
Any
known?
of the 10,000,
What?
they couldn't positively identify it. They think
They need
it's
to
some
catch
sort of
this thing.
cousin of the bobbit worm, which we've talked about on the podcast.
Oh, okay, wait. So is it? Do we think it's down in the substrate?
It isn't. They think it's a cousin, but it isn't a bobbit worm. Yeah. But what they did find, so this very well could be a new species of bristleworm.
Amazing.
And they analyzed this digestive tract that was found within the 1.5 meter long worm. And they found that not only did it have coral, but it also had pieces of fish and sea bass bones, which are a thing, and like the fish that they found were all pieces that they feed to the aquarium fish and the sharks that are there. So whatever was left, this bristle worm was eating it.
Yeah, just
whatever
scavenging
was
the pieces.
left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what do? The staff.
Nothing. It's helping you out to clean the place up.
You fire the person who was in charge of cleaning the tank for the last 10 years.
They want to see it. So they put up cameras for 4 nights.
They chummed
at
the water.
the spot.
Put some food out. Chum it, yeah.
Well, they put it right at like different coral pieces that it had been eating, and like all around they use special cameras too that really allowed you to see the corals at night and everything, and not add in extra light because it's a night predator that is eating.
Are
and
you going to tell us that there's
scavenging.
like 100 of these worms?
Oh,
So they put the cameras up, and there was 70 hours of footage. And in those 70 hours of footage, they didn't see the worm once.
Oh my God.
What?
Where is
They
it?
took they took the cameras down, and right where the cameras were pointing at, it started eating those corals again.
Of course.
So at this point, Hans Kirschhauser, he's getting ready to retire, and he just wants to see this worm. So
Once he retires, he can sit there all
He's
day.
had 10
and all
years
night.
to see it. He needs to go too. Oh, God.
So this past week on August 14th, they actually set up a live stream to watch for the worm. But as of right now, they still haven't found this worm. They don't know where
Going on.
How big is the
Field
aquarium?
trip.
Did you
Field
say?
trip.
I didn't. Right? Field trip. I did not say. I couldn't quite find that. To be fair, the article where I was getting all of this was translated from German.
Okay.
And the only people who are really doing any sort of coverage is the local news station in Germany.
Oh, applause for local news.
Oh, fabulous. It has been described as a giant aquarium. And it is a good size. Like they do have blacktip reef sharks and such. So it's a decent sized aquarium.
Tank, yeah.
It's a big aquarium.
I was trying to picture the one that I worked for was about 1.2 million gallons.
Yeah. So
and that was big. That was a lot of water.
Yeah, it's wild, but as of right now, they have not found it. They've had a live stream.
A lot of places to hide, though.
Have not found it in the slightest.
Dude. But it was 6 feet
so
long.
I
at one
think
point.
I did find it here. This
The
is
worm? You saw it?
No, I found how big it is.
You're watching the I'm watching the webcam right now.
You saw the. Oh my god!
I found the worm.
No.
It is a 240,000 liter aquarium. So, hold on.
Divided by
converting?
4.
I'm converting.
6,000 gallons. Am I right on that?
It is 63,000 gallons.
Okay, I missed a 0.
Yeah.
I would have said 60,000 then, I suppose. So.
Yeah.
63,000 gallons.
Yeah, a little bit more than
That's
that.
big.
It's a pretty good
tank
size
I have
aquarium.
At my house. So.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just found this news article and I knew that you were coming, Brett, and I needed to tell you about
German
this
worm
worm
hunt of the summer of 25.
They've been searching for 10 years and no one has spotted it. They've just seen the mucus tubes and they've found where it eats and just most of this worm. It's much smaller now, so it's harder to see, but they still haven't found this worm.
I mean, that's horrific.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have the live stream up right now.
Yeah.
All I see is jellyfish. Lots and lots of jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. They've got sturgeon fish and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Who knows? My source this week was the only article that I found that was actually covering this. It was written by Michael Lang of the SWR. The local news site was Tagesschau. And this is the only place that really is talking about it. The guy, Kirschhauser, there's a picture in the article of Kirschhauser holding the part of the worm, and he looks so happy and so German. It was great.
I don't.
He's standing there it looks like a big fish picture that you would find on a dating profile. It's great.
If, by the way, if someone's picture, their dating profile picture was them holding this bristle worm from an aquarium, you're gonna
maybe don't.
That's a niche market right there.
Special,
That's very niche.
special.
Yeah, so that's what I have for all of you this week is
was
this mystery of this worm in Germany. Who knows if they'll ever find it? Apparently he's Hans Kirschhauser is retiring at the end of the summer, so who knows?
Oh my gosh. Hey, let's include this
this live stream.
The link to this live stream in our email newsletter.
Because someone's got to get a picture of it.
Right, someone has to see it at some point. It can't just not be there.
I will say it looks like it alternates between shots of the aquarium during the daytime, but I think once nighttime comes, they switch the camera over to the jellyfish. So
I don't
probably
know
not gonna see it on the webcam if it's only out at night.
And I don't know if the live stream is going on now for the search for the worm necessarily anymore.
Yeah.
So, but if anything,
it's a mesmerizing live stream though. Definitely check it out.
If anything, it's fun there. All right.
Amazing.
All right. Well, that's what I have for you all this week. I believe that brings us to the end of the show. Brett, it was great to have you.
Hey,
What a
again,
wild
Brett.
time.
it was my privilege to be here. Well, you guys, thanks for inviting me along. I would love to do it at some point in time in the future, as long as I know in advance that no one is talking about worms. Jeez.
I will keep
Note
that
to self,
in mind
worm. Find
for the
worm
future.
topic.
I swear I wasn't going.
Welcome to the
for a
worm episode,
topic,
everyone.
But
Gross-ish.
There's got to be some new tapeworm research out there.
I will
Folks,
say,
here's what I need. We're going to crowdsource this. Everyone, send me the latest strange tapeworm research you can
Please
find for when
don't.
we have Brett on the show next time.
Wow.
I'm putting the strange army out there.
I would like
find
to
it.
say, when I was searching and double checking that we weren't talking about certain things, I searched worm just to see if we talked about bristleworms, and we have talked about worms 17 different times, and I was scrolling through to check them, and we've talked about tapeworms like at least 4 times.
That's
I mean, they're
5
pretty
times too
special.
many. It's 5 times too many.
Ugh, awful. Hate it. It's
All right.
so fun.
This was an absolute blast. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
until
Brett.
we get to do it again next time.
Great.
Thanks,
have
everybody.
have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks everyone for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.